Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy SoSo, in case you ain't know so, and welcome back to another dope episode of Sports with SoSo. Coming to you live, y'all. This week, the shorthanded Heat are almost out of the playoffs, the Panthers are riding high and into the next round, and we got the Miami Golf Bros Open 2024. It's time to take a ride, y'all. Let's go! Dog, that's my favorite line, dog. Every now and then they come out, dog. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a good golf shot, a three-pointer from far, a fucking 40-yard touchdown pass, every now and then they come out, dog.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, I like it. That was really, really well done, sir.
Thanks, man.
What's going on, dog?
What's going on, my bro? And thanks to everybody who's tuning in. Make sure you guys are hitting the like notification buttons. Turn all that stuff on. Drop a comment. Let us know what you guys think about this episode because it's gonna be a good one like last week's.
Yeah. What do we got on the docket today?
Not a lot.
We're talking Heat today.
Got the Heat.
We're talking Panthers.
We got the Panthers.
We got Miami Golf Bros Open, which I cannot wait to get to. I'm the most giddy about that. There's some other things to be giddy about.
Dog.
I think we should start with the Heat, though.
Let's do that.
And then work our way into the good stuff.
The excitement that we have for Miami Golf Bros Open 2024 is like...
permeating?
Yes. That's a great word.
Great word.
Great word there.
Great word.
Look, man. The Heat gave it all they got. You know, they got a game tonight. It's Wednesday. We're recording on game day. We're playing up in Boston, game 5, and the Heat are currently down 3-1. And if we're being realistic, right? If we're being realistic, even as super Heat fans, we knew that this was going to be a tall task playing against the Celtics, right? Even if we had Jimmy and Terry and everybody else. The fact that we don't have Jimmy and we haven't had Terry Rozier for the last 3 weeks, right? 2 weeks of the season, and even now in the playoffs, that 10, 20, 25% chance of winning went down to 5%. And the fact that we got a game in Boston shows you, right, that there is talent on this team, just doesn't play consistently at a high level with that talent. But it also reaffirms that we do have one of the best coaches, if not the best NBA the coach in the NBA. Because what Eric does with this squad, right, is amazing. The way that he's able to put guys.
I didn't know you were on first name basis with him.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Coach Spo to you, dog.
That's my boy, dog. Nobody has gone harder for Eric Spoelstra in the city of Miami except for myself and the guys that write his check, right? And it's only because everything he's done has stood the test of time, right? He's won it. He's won with bad players. He's won with superstars. He's won with a weird collection of talent. My boy just wins, right? And we got a game in Boston, dog, which nobody expected. Boston's also bad at home, right? But you can kind of point to the Heat always having their number and saying this shit is not going to be easy for you. And that game wasn't easy for Boston. We went out there and shot the lights out, right? Now, in the rest of the games, we've seen the shortcomings of the offense. Hero, Spotty, Bam, only got going really in game 4, right, offensively. Duncan hasn't been able to play well. We haven't seen Hawkes really play well offensively. This is offensively that I'm talking about. Jovic, Highsmith, any of the guys you want to name. DeLon Wright, Patty Mills. None of those guys have been able to play well for their level, right? I'm not even asking them to do a lot. Have been able to play well for their level consistently in any of these games, right? So, yeah, you might get a spurt here and there from one of those guys that I named, but obviously it's not going to be enough. So then what does that do? That isolates a guy like Hero, that isolates a guy like Bam, where it's a extra magnifying glass on those guys to really break down how can they carry a team. I don't know about you. You know, I'm interested to see what your opinion is, but for me, Tyler Hero has proven that he cannot be the one to carry a team. Too many turnovers, very sloppy ball handling. So in those crunch time moments, you don't necessarily want the ball in his hands to set up the play. He can be the guy to take the shot, and I feel confident in him taking big shots, right? But everything that would lead up to getting that shot is not necessarily his forte, and it's been shown.
I've definitely criticized Hero, for exactly what you're saying right there. Excuse me, but it's you said he's proved that he's not the guy, and that's hard to harsh. I would say, like, to kind of phrase it that way, but you can definitely say he hasn't proven anything as far as being the guy. Like, he hasn't gone out there and done it consistently enough, because you can't just be streaky or fluky, bro, and have a miraculous game, which, let's face it, so that game 2 that we took on the road was a miraculous victory.
It was amazing.
Everything clicked. All the shots were dropping.
The man had 14
We
assists.
had a franchise record for made 3-pointers with 23 of them. That's what it took for us to be
Quick time out
Boston.
there. I love that stat. And you know why I love that stat? Because we've broken that record like in the last, like at least 4 times in the last 5 playoff runs that we've been in. So I just want to point that out.
But that can't be the style of basketball that we play. Like,
True.
we've never been that team. You
True.
know what I mean? Like, we have the spot-up shooters that can knock down those shots when the game is on the line and it's close.
Right.
But it's not something we've ever had to be truly dependent upon to carry us to the end of the game. At least not in typical Heat fashion. And now, my criticism of Hero has always been, how loose cannon he is. Yeah, he might put up 30 points, but he also took up 30 shots to get there. It's like, that's inefficiency to me. If you're only shooting 30-40%, like, we need you at a better clip than that, bro.
Yeah, for sure. And the ability to create for others. That's part of being like that superstar. Can you carry the team? It doesn't necessarily mean go out there and average 32 points in a losing effort every single night. Because that could be at some point just boosting up the numbers, right? Where you're taking 32 shots to put up 32 points. That's not efficient at all, right? That's not the game plan for a guy like Hero. You would want those guys to be creators, right? A guy who can create his own shot and pop it off whenever he needs to, but he can also create for other people and do that consistently. I don't think Hero has shown that.
He hasn't. He absolutely hasn't shown
So that's why I say he can't carry a team. Because a guy like Jimmy Butler, even with, if you want to criticize his shooting and criticize him for that, his one of his best abilities is the fact that he can create for others, even though he's not a super offensive threat.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing with Bam. Bam can create for others, right? And we've seen that because Bam averages about 4 to 5 assists per game, right? For a big man. But what he lacks in that department, he doesn't necessarily make up in the scoring department. So that's why I say, to kind of ease off a Hero a little bit and focus more on Bam, this would have been the opportunity, right, with Jimmy being out, to say, I'm going to take this step to be the leader. I'm going to take this step to take the responsibility on head first and get involved in the game early, take over, maybe hit a couple of shots, drive a couple of times, make a couple of assists, try to get some guys some open threes, try to get some guys some dunks. And Bam wasn't able to do that.
No.
Right? And then on top of not being able to do it.
Is that his role?
Bro, when you're the best player on the floor, dog, for us, that's your role. Yeah, so and if we're talking about with Jimmy not being there and Terry not being there, and we look at the starting 5, Bam is the best player.
I get that, but we also kind of give Bam a pass because we know how much he brings to the table defensively, that on the offensive side of the ball, we can kind of be like, all right, bro, you're still putting up 20 points a game. Yeah, we want you to be a 40-point player right now because of the fact that Jimmy's out, and that would elevate us. But let's be real. We know the ceiling on Bam's offensive game.
100%.
And as long as he reaches that every game, that's fine. But Hero, if you're not making shots, you're not facilitating properly and controlling the game, and you're not being efficient.
Yeah, you're a negative.
And on top of that, you're a liability on defense.
So then this is why I tell you that I don't think I'm being harsh on Bam if I say he can't carry the team. Because while he's not a negative, he's not a super positive. He's not a positive.
He's a net positive, though.
He's a 0. You're.
I would say he's more than
not
that,
as,
bro.
I'm just saying, if you're negative and you're not. If you're not a -1 and you're not a +1 or a 1, you're a 0. So again, you're neutral. You're not gonna hurt this team no matter how bad you play. You're not gonna hurt this team. Now, when you play really well, this team is gonna be even greater, right? I don't think that Bam is able to be the best player on this team.
Right.
He can't, in my opinion, this playoff series is showing that Bam can't necessarily be the second best player on the team. And that's why I say neither one of those guys have shown that they can carry a team. Because if to give you the example, right? Let's say Bam averages 27 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists with 2 blocks in this series, and he's the best player that he have, but we lose in 5 games, I would have been super cool with that. I would have been super cool with that because that's showing me that Bam is showing up every single game and making a difference. Whether we win or lose, doesn't matter. Show me you're making a difference every single game. He hasn't done that. There's been quarters, and we can point out the quarters, right, where he's played well, and it's like, damn it, Bam, why can't you do that all the time? That's what I'm saying. Same thing with Hero. That's why he's a negative, right? Because this series, in a position where he's able to do what we would want him to do, right, and has the ability and the skills and the more importantly the free range to go out and do it, hasn't been able to do it, right? So that's why I think, and I said that before the series started. Now we have a clearer picture of who we absolutely have to trade and who we don't have to trade, because we absolutely have to try to trade Hero. We don't necessarily need to trade Bam. Bam is our best asset. We don't need to trade him. Sure. Now, if the only way that we can really drastically improve this team is by trading Bam, then depending on the player, you have to consider it, right? If it's a KD situation, maybe you consider it. I wouldn't, right? But I could see that. I could see that for a certain amount of players. Wo just said that there's going to be a lot of movement in this summer, right? Especially with the older guard, those veterans that are still looking to, get a championship and have those championship aspirations. That's good for the Heat because we're always a destination. But I don't know if we can land.
Yeah, but
not necessarily a home run, but even a hit,
but
a double
still,
in free agency.
The first thing you said is what alarms me: the older guard. Like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna get somebody for a year, try to make a championship run with pieces right now that we have currently that can't get us there. Like, how do we know that's gonna work? How do we know the locker room is gonna be cohesive? How do we know that they're gonna have the chemistry to take it to the next level?
I mean, we were willing to risk that with Dame last year, though.
But Dame was going to be a little bit more long term. You know what I mean? Like we were looking at. That's fair. Like, that's my thing. And where are we? Where do we stand? How much longer do we have Jimmy? You know what I mean? Like Bam and Hero obviously are young, but frankly, I love Bam. I love what he brings to the table. Give me Bam all day. Hero can go for all I care, and so could everybody else on the team. Yeah, Jovic, you can go. Let me get Jaquez. Let me keep Jaquez and let me keep Bam, just those 2 guys, and let's rebuild around.
Make everybody else available.
Do something to try to rebuild around that, but I don't know. I don't know the future, but talking right now with this unit and this team, we can nitpick the 2 main guys because those are the guys that we have
stand out the most.
We have the most love-hate for. Mm-hmm. We love them when they're doing well. We hate them when they're not. But we have the highest expectation for both of those guys, right? But collectively, so we haven't really seen, bro, like that. Like everybody I feel like watching these games, bro, it's like it's not team basketball, bro. It looks like individual ball. Everybody's trying to, you got a Caleb Martin trying to go up and under the rim. You got a Bam trying to fade away, go high off the glass like Dirk, like a shot you never see Bam trying to do. Yeah. Like it's real individual shit versus like the setup. And then now what's happening, like also the shots aren't dropping. No. So there are times where they do the swing and the setups and then the shots don't drop. So then I think that also leads to the forcing. Yeah, because then now they're like, all right, this didn't work. I got to take the game into my own hands. And then that doesn't work either. They can't control. But
I think that's
just looking good.
No, absolutely. And I think that's just a lack of experience from those guys, right? Or the guys that are getting the minutes. Look, we've seen Jovic play a lot of minutes. Yep. He's learning. This kid's 20 years old, right? Same thing with Jaquez. This is his first taste of NBA playoffs and what it takes to be good in the NBA playoffs, right? So I'll give those guys a pass, but like Caleb Martin's been here before. He should know better. And he's one of those guys that is very reckless, right? He has that one good game where we shoot well and he shot the lights out. But every other game, I would say he's a negative. Definitely not a net positive, right? So I think I understand the frustration because obviously all of us feel it. We don't want to see our team be like this. And it does leave us in some type of weird space where it's like, what the hell is the direction of this team, right? Like, are we trying to hit on the superstar? Are we trying to go young? Do we blow it up? Do we try to stay a contender even though we see other teams around us getting better and better? What's our move? And I think that's a tough question, for Pat and Andy and these dudes to kind of figure out because they're going to have to figure out something quickly, because if the guys that we have that are tradable assets are not becoming more valuable as time goes on, right? Duncan,
If anything,
Hero,
their stock is going down.
even Bam, like all of those guys. The longer we wait to trade them, the lower their value will eventually become. Some quicker than others, right? But you got to make the moves and you got to make the decisions. And I think this offseason is going to be interesting for the Heat because we're going to know a lot about the direction for next year's team, you know? And when we've talked about it on the show, albeit to some people's disliking, but does that mean we trade Jimmy in a package to get younger and better and probably build a team that way? I don't know. But at the current state, we're not a championship team right now. Yeah. And if Jimmy's here to win a championship, we're doing him a disservice if we don't make the team immediately better. It's not a hate for Jimmy thing. It's not a hate for the Heat thing. It's actually trying to look out for what's best for both, right? I want Jimmy to win a championship. He deserves it. I would love for him to do it here. I want him to do it here. But this dude is a dog of a player. He deserves to be on a team that can potentially win a championship. Realistically. Yeah. Right? Because right now we're not better than the Celtics on paper, right? And obviously,
and on the court either.
And on the court, right? And even if we're looking, let's say we
White, bro. First of all, we got to talk a little bit about the Celtics. Because all we do is talk about the Heat, bro.
Tatum's whack.
What? How do we not have somebody that can guard Derek White? So
we used to, and I think that's part of it, like the culture thing, right? And I was having that same argument with the boys in the chat. I was like, bro, I get it. We do have a culture in Miami Heat basketball. It is defense, and that's what we look for in guys, and we can build guys up to do a specific job. But that's gonna run its life quicker than what we think. So yeah, you know, and I made this specific comment. You know, Eric Spoelstra's specialty is not turning coal into diamonds, right? His specialty is turning shit into coal that we can use to heat up other things and be part of the team. You get what I'm saying? And it's not a diss to Eric. That's my boy, first name basis. But that's not his job, right? And there have been players where it's like, all right, we're going to give you this project. This guy's a coal, make him into a diamond. We've seen that. Bam is the best example of that, right? Bam is the best example of that. And I would even point out, it's not a coal. He was definitely a diamond in the rough or a diamond that needed some polishing. Chris Bosh. Because when Chris Bosh got here, he was a completely type of different player. And unbeknownst to everybody else, Eric was getting that guy ready for the future of NBA. He was the guy who showed every other team, you need a big man who can stretch the floor, you need a big man who can handle, you need a big man who can play down low, and he can hit threes. Chris Bosh was the first one to do it in this system, playing alongside Wade and LeBron. So that I look at Eric and I credit him with that, because if Chris Bosh stays healthy, Lord knows what that guy's career would have been, right? But yeah, that's hard for us to do, to find a piece of coal and turn it into a diamond. That potential piece of coal to turn into a diamond is a Jaquez and a Jovic, right? Because those guys look like they got that thing. They look like they got that thing when they just need to be, taken care of the right way. That's what we can do. But does it always work? Nah. Because realistically, we haven't had a in-house superstar, not an all-star, not a really good defensive player or a really good offensive player, a superstar in a real long time, since number 3. So yeah. That's just where the Heat are at, right? So they got to figure out what they're going to do. We're spoiled as fuck. We're spoiled as fuck. We expect championship every year.
And now we're approaching that 10-year mark, or no, like when was the last time we won our championship? 13.
Yeah.
13 was the last time. So it's already over 10 years that we've been in the big game.
And our best player in those 10 years has and currently is Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, we've been there a couple times, but we just haven't been able to get it done again. And it's like, hey, now it's been over 10 years. Like now we're due. What are we doing?
What are we doing? We're due. Let's see.
We had such a good stretch going.
Game 5, baby. Tonight, we're going to see what happens.
They tip off right now, as a matter of fact.
We're going to find out. Actually. We're going to find out. We're going to find out quick.
Yep.
Let's talk about another team.
Good luck to the Heat. Good luck to the Heat. We want you to. I want you to shut me up. Go ahead and
make me look stupid.
Beat the Celtics. Make us look stupid. Make me hero. Make me eat all these words, dog.
Yeah, Bam made me look stupid.
Yep.
Made me look stupid. let's talk about the other franchise that's known as little brother to the Heat, but is turning into twins, right? With a little bit better pedigree. And that's the Florida Panthers, bro. Taking care of business, giving Tampa Bay the gentleman's sweep, 4-1 after Tampa Bay stayed off the sweep in Game 4 and ended up winning 6-3. But the Panthers were focused, came back in Game 5 here at home and really took care of business, put themselves in a 2-0 lead and never looked back, bro. It ended up turning into an onslaught, right, where I think Barkov had 2 goals, Kachuk had 2 goals. This is a team, dog, that is uber focused on winning the Stanley Cup. Like, I felt like they got a taste of it last year, and we're like, fuck, we got so close. We knew we had it, and we let it slip away because of the moment, right? Like, maybe the moment was too big for us, right? Yeah. Now, this team is really a team. And you know, it's crazy because look at the comparisons or the, like, how them and the Heat, like, really are polar opposites at the moment. The Heat don't look like they're playing with teamwork. The Panthers are definitely playing with teamwork, dog. They have one of the best penalty killing ratios right now in the playoffs. They're top 3. And the amount of minutes that they played in penalties, right? Like being in a penalty, and the amount of minutes they killed, and also the amount of goals that they've given up. What does that tell you? That means that they're giving their biggest and best efforts when they're a man down. Being a man down in the toughest situation that you could be in hockey, because that extra man is so important. That's why we see teams forget the goalie towards the end of the game and get that extra guy on the ice. Being a man down, the Panthers are able to step up and keep the enemy at bay. And Tampa Bay was an extremely offensive team this year. Extremely offensive team this year. And there was only one time that they blew up for more than 3-4 goals. That was that Game 4 win.
Yeah, and that Game 4 win came at
the helm. They got 2 empty netters and shit towards the end of the game.
No, it wasn't even empty netters at the end of the game. It was the power plays. You know, there was a couple of bad penalties on us that came at a really bad time. We had one, and then boom, right in that time, another one. So we were 3-man. We were down 2 at one point, and I think they got one there, and they got one on another fast break. That kind of killed us. But that was just the exception. It wasn't the rule. The other games, we really dogged them. We controlled the game the whole time. You know, everybody's playing, you know, at a really high level right now and vibing as a team. But the guy that deserves so much of the credit right now individually is Big Bob, man.
Bro. And you know, it's crazy, man, because now I'm when I listen to sports radio, right, whether it's locally or nationally, and they talk about the Panthers, they talk about Big Bob, and they bring up the fact that this guy was almost off the team, you know, multiple times. He got sent down, got benched for Spencer Knight, got benched for the other goalie that stepped in last year. Like, there were some hard times for this dude. And this is after him signing a big contract. He's making, $9-10 million, which is a lot of money in hockey. But he's also stepped up in every big moment that the Panthers have had in the last 3 years, including the playoffs, right? So it's not surprising, or it probably means that it's a greater story, right? The fact that this dude has withstood all that, right? Hit the rock bottom of what it is to be a goalie, and now he's at the pinnacle where he's probably the best goalie in the NHL at the moment. And I don't just mean that because he's our guy, his save percentage is amazing, and he's making amazing saves like the Bobbery, right? Not the robbery, the Bobbery. If you haven't seen that, you can check it out on our Instagram page. Go look it out. It's hanging in the lure. But, you know, this dude is really stepping up, like I said, when it matters the most. He's one of those guys that's leading when it comes to making saves. And especially, like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to killing penalties, this dude is facing a ton of extra shots and not giving up the goals. That is so critical, and he's doing it consistently. So, yeah, this team wouldn't be shit without the high level of goalie play that this dude is bringing to the table, man. And I'm glad to see him get the love, dog. Yeah. You know, because like I said, having that $10 million price tag is a lot, bro. I don't know if you know this, but the salary cap for hockey is only $100 million. Only $100 million, dog. So if you got a guy making $10 million, which the Panthers have several guys making $10 million or $9 million, it's a huge hit. It's a huge hit, and it comes with expectations, right? Like, hey, if I'm paying you X, like, you gotta be
that guy.
You gotta be that guy every night. And thankfully Big Bob has been that guy for the Panthers. But he also has had amazing defensive player in front of him. You know what I mean? I think that having Ekblad completely healthy and how they shut him down towards the end of the season and let him take days off, get his body right, you know what I'm saying? Get his body conditioned for this hard, grueling playoff run that they were about to embark has done a fucking amazing wonders for this guy. Because even Montclair, being by his side, like those dudes have a dynamic partnership where they can kind of like read each other's mind and be in the right spot while the other guy needs them in another place. I just think defensively, the Panthers have been where it's at. And if we're talking about offensively, there's a dude named Sam Reinhart. I don't know if you've ever heard of him before. We talk about him
I'm not familiar.
A little bit here on the show, but yeah, this guy just fucking went over 60 goals for the season. He's leading the playoffs in goals. And this is a guy who is, again, dog, a consistent player for the Panthers. Winning, losing, down a man, up a man, doesn't matter. Sam is bringing the fire. He's bringing the speed. He's putting the shots on goal, and he's getting goals, which he creates for others too. Like he had like 23 assists this year. Like, come on. This dude is doing what we would want our star players to do on the other side, right? On the other side of the fence with the Heat. This is one of the dudes that is doing it consistently. Probably the most consistent. And now that we see Matt Tkachuk, back on that scoring tip, it's like, yeah, this Panthers team is really well balanced, dog. And I don't see nobody beating them, dog. I really don't. I was looking at the Boston game, right? They're playing... who are they playing right now? Toronto, right? So I'm watching their game 4, right? Game 5, which Boston ended up losing, right? We're gonna play the winner of that series, and Boston is supposed to be the team that has the upper edge in that series, right? And they're the more physical team and all that stuff. And I'm looking at those guys, and I'm like, man, these guys can't hang with the Panthers, dog. Like, we're way too fast for these guys. Toronto has some fast guys, and they can get up and down the ice a lot. Whoa.
Oh, sorry about that.
You have to decline that, boy.
Yeah, there we go.
I should have picked it up.
Hello.
Hello there. I just think that really puts the Panthers in an advantageous spot.
Yeah.
Because now they look at whoever they got to play. They're sitting down, getting all the tape ready to face either Boston or Toronto, and they're going to have that same mentality on their mind. Let's get these guys out of here in 4 or 5 games.
Yep.
We got business to take care of.
Yep.
Right?
And they have the confidence now because they just took down a juggernaut, man. You got to give props to Tampa. They're a hell of a team.
Great team.
They've been together for a long time. They got a lot of great pieces, but we're just, like, I think we showed, like, I think what we showed in this series was that, like, it's not that necessarily Tampa is, like, regressing or taking a step back. It's that we just took 2 steps forward.
We took a leap.
Yeah,
right?
We're just, like, all our guys, like, we've had a core of these guys. A couple of these guys are new, but we've had the majority of them for a couple of years now developing, and like you said, last year, we got left with that taste of, damn, we made it to the game. This is what it is. But, a couple bad breaks, injuries, and things like that. You didn't have the full force. These guys are all buzzing right now. They're all healthy. They're playing it right, taking the time off like you were alluding to earlier.
Yeah.
And it's starting to look like the stars are starting to align for the Panthers. And I feel like people are sleeping on us.
Big time. But you know what? It's not that people are sleeping on them. I don't think that they've been able to capture the attention of the full South Florida audience. Because there have been bigger expectations on the other franchises.
I mean, nationally, I think people are
nationally
other franchises.
I don't think they're not at this point. Not right now. Not after we just did what we did to Tampa Bay. Because Tampa Bay, like, that's a team that, regardless of records, regardless of who scored what or who has the most, you throw all those records out the window and you say these guys are going to scrap and fight for every single inch of ice here. And every game was tough. It wasn't super physical, but it was a lot of speed, a lot of hitting, a lot of scrappiness. Like it was almost like UMFSU
3-2
on ice.
3-2, 3-2, 5-3. They win 6-3, and then we win 6-1. So yeah, they were
scrappy games, dog. Until those ass kickings, right, on both sides.
3 out of the 5 were scrappy games. Yep, one of them was an OT thriller.
You know what I mean? And that one we came back in.
Yep.
So. That's why I say, like, it's a tough challenge whenever we face Tampa Bay. The fact that we did take them out in 5 games like that, handily winning in Tampa Bay like it was nothing, is a big deal. And it does show you the leap that the Panthers have made. Yeah. The Heat haven't been able to make that leap.
No, granted, we took steps back.
Granted, Jimmy took us on a hell of a ride because Jimmy took us on tremendo ride on the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, and when we won that, right, we a hell of a ride. But I don't think it's been a team effort like the Panthers have been, right? Because look, Carter Verhaeghe,
It's
he's
been more
scoring.
lopsided.
Yeah, it's
Jimmy,
been,
Jimmy
you know,
has
like
been more of the focal point.
the guys
This
that
has
the
been more of
Panthers
a team
rely
effort.
on, all the main guys that the Panthers rely on have been hitting. All of them. Kachuk, Reinhardt, Verhaeghe, Ekblad, Moncler, like whatever your job is, Big Bob, you've been hitting your marks. Pow, pow, pow. So that's not what we're seeing with the Heat. Because even in last year's playoff run, we saw guys hitting their mark. We saw Caleb Martin hitting their mark. We saw Duncan hitting their mark. Hey, I got to hit 3 threes. Boom, here's my 3 threes. We haven't seen that. But we're seeing Verhaeghe lead the team with like 5 goals. We're seeing Sam get two goals and 3 assists in one series. We see Matthew Tkachuk turn on the scoring. Like
it's not just one person.
It's not just one guy. It's all the main guys hitting. It's all the main guys hitting. Whether you're first tier, second tier, third tier, all those guys are hitting. Right. So that's the big difference. And that's why I think the Panthers have that advantage over every other team. Every other team. And
yeah, we're deep.
Yeah, we're deep. And now they're getting recognized for it, even nationally. So you know what I mean?
Who do we have on deck, dog? So
we're gonna wait.
The Bruins and Okay. I think it's gonna be the Bruins. I think that's who we're gonna end up having to play, which is gonna be a nice little rematch of last year.
Should be them. It should be them. They're the better team. They're the one with the higher seed.
Yeah. I think they won the President's Cup too this year. They had the best record. So
yes, sir. So like that's why I say, you know, but you can't sleep on Toronto. That's a team that has made Stanley Cup finals before.
Yeah.
They know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to be at a good team like Boston.
And they're all fired up right now because of all this Drake and Kendrick beef.
Yeah, shit is real.
You know what I'm saying?
It's real in the hockey streets.
Dog?
Yeah, I heard it.
What do you think? Who's leading right now?
Let's save it for the end of the show. We'll talk about the battle at the end of the show.
All right, bet.
So yeah, no Panthers update for right now. We're waiting to see who they play.
The update is we won the first round of the playoffs. We're good. We're taking time off right now.
Taking some time off.
So we know who we're gonna face in the second round.
Game 6 is tomorrow for Boston and Toronto. If Boston wins, then obviously we'll be facing Boston. If Toronto wins, then Game 7 is gonna be on the 4th. So Panthers probably won't play again until we record either Monday or Tuesday. So let's see how that series goes. Vamos Gatos. Now, we have the cake. It's time to cut the cake. And let's sing some happy birthday here. Miami Golf Bros Open 2024. Please, let me get the horns. Shout out to the 22 guys joining us on that trip. Damn, it's going to be a fucking great time, dog.
24 guys, 2 teams.
Yes.
1 epic weekend.
One champion.
It's gonna
one
be,
team is going to be a champion.
It's a Ryder Cup year. So last year we did our individual tournament.
Yes.
Which somebody that's
right.
I won
my dog right here won that thing.
You know, there was
the video's still out on my dog's YouTube channel.
That was a fun one.
Check it out.
But you know, we've been doing something here now where we do the Ryder Cup year, you know, every other year. And guys like it, man. They love being on the team. They love the smack talk. You know, they love the camaraderie. You know, so we have some really fun matches planned, some formats planned and things like that. But yeah, dude, this is 24 guys. This is the most we've ever had on a trip.
For sure, which is awesome. But you know what I thought really made the difference for this year for me, right? Because this is going to be my first match style play. I've played with a lot of these dudes before, right? So we've played in a scramble or a heads up or whatever, right? But there's not too many chances as a golfer where you say, bro, we're going to team up against these motherfuckers. And it's going to mean something. You know what I mean? Like, because, you know, we've been on the course a bunch. It's not like we're gamblers out there and say, yo, let's put, you know, $10 a hole on this. That's not really how we do it most of the times, right? People do it often. But for us, it's always more about the camaraderie, the game, and the individual play. Now you're literally playing with a teammate and you're going up against other guys and you want that fucking win.
Yeah.
You want to come through for your partner. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to pick each other up. So a guy that you've played with before or whatever, now that's your teammate and you're playing against a guy who you know well because you play more often with him. It's like, all right, here's the game plan. We know we got to avoid these guys doing this, or let's try to keep the pressure on them this way. And that's going to bring a completely different aspect to how the weekend is approached, right? Because you're not worried about necessarily shooting the lowest score you could, even though that's always a target.
100% what you're worried about.
Yeah,
that's
always the target. But like I said, in the 2v2, you're just trying to follow up good shot after good shot after a good putt, right? So like whether it's me hitting 2 good shots on this hole and you sinking the putt, or we alternate good shots and then one of us sinks the putts, like
that's only for one day though.
That's for one day.
There's individual stuff. So what is going to come to play is, you know, how good of a teammate can you be when your golf game is not at your level of expectation?
Exactly.
Meaning you're out of a hole, but how good of a teammate are you going to be to now caddy your teammate and hype your guy up and tell him, you know, you got this. You can hit this shot.
You got to help him.
I'm sorry I couldn't do shit because I put 2 in the water already, but I got you whatever you need here. Not everybody's going to do that. Some guys might sulk, you know, in their misery of how bad they're playing. Some guys might check out,
because they might not have like that vibe yet. You know what I'm saying? Or like, you know, I just think that it is definitely a different and new thing that we're gonna embark on, dog. And I think it's really gonna change the aspect of how we normally play golf.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Well, so we've done the Ryder Cup before.
Yes, but this is my first year.
This is your first Ryder
Cup.
And
I think it's a couple other guys' first year playing match style, right?
A lot of the
for
guys
the Ryder Cup.
First time doing the Ryder Cup, but we did one a couple years ago in St. Augustine, and it was amazing. It was the same deal.
Same vibes.
People were hyped. We knew what the matchups were for Sunday and shit. So like it was like we already had like anticipation for it and stuff, and people were looking forward to playing, you know, certain people and the smack talk and all that stuff. But you know, this year, you know, it's more legit. It's even better. Yeah. You know, we have like everything down pat. We know the layout of Innisbrook. You know, this is the second time we've been there. We know the vibes. We know where to go. We know what to do.
Yes.
And we just are now enhancing it, dog. I can't wait to show you guys the swag bags.
Oh my God, dog. Cause they're right there. They're off camera.
Literally right there.
Here. But I haven't looked at anything.
Yeah, I want you to be. Peeks. You know, I want you to.
There haven't been any sneak peeks. Legit surprise, and we're gonna record all that shit. You gotta make sure you're subscribed and you have the notification set up for both Miami Golf Bros and Sports with SoSo, because we're gonna be bringing you a lot of content in the next coming week and couple of days.
Update for you: we hit 100 subscribers on YouTube. And over 500 on Instagram.
Let's go.
Shout out to Pedro the Raccoon.
Let's go, Pedro the Raccoon,
son,
dog, for helping.
Do you want to know? Have you looked at that by any chance on my page?
Bro, sometimes I don't look at it, dog. I saw the clip and I made my comment on it, but I don't really look at the numbers like when it's doing.
I want you to look at how many views Pedro has, dog, on my page.
Wow, that's wild. Cause
say it out loud.
98,000
views on Instagram.
Wild.
I average like 1,000 views if I'm lucky.
Right.
On any given like post. Like post that like I take my time editing, I put graphics on, like
watermarks, all this shit.
You know,
effects.
like I try to like, you know, like make it real nice, dog, and like I'll get like 1,000. Like that's like a good like performing reel for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I reposted this freaking raccoon as a meme with a freaking caption that came to me. This little dude has 98,000 views, my boy. Dog. So shout out to Pedro the Raccoon, bro.
Yeah, man. We know that the golf hype is real, dog. You know, nationally, and even more so down here in South Florida. Obviously, we've seen the rates go up. We've seen the amount of golfers. We've seen the courses backed up more. Like, it's been packed, man.
I'm happy we're getting out of Miami this weekend. We're gonna get some golf up in Innisbrook, dog.
Woo.
It's a vibe. It's gonna be a good time. Are you talk to me about your matches? So your match the first day is you and Frankie, or no,
me and Jason.
You and Jason versus Tony and
shout out to
Kyle.
HQ Golf. My dog is doing big things. Shout out to him for my fucking brand new putter head cover. I got my towel, my caddy towel.
Yeah,
fire. The bag is looking fire.
HQ Golf is the title sponsor of the Miami Golf Pros Open 2024.
One of the sponsors.
Definitely bringing some heat. But yeah, you're gonna be paired up with him. That's gonna be pretty dope.
This is one of the things that I was telling you. I've played with Jason, right? But we don't necessarily play often. You know what I mean? So now he's gonna be my teammate. I know how he plays, but it's gonna be a different vibe because I'm going to be hyping him up, and he's going to be hyping me up.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Let me tell you, you got a good one because Jason's super competitive.
He's super competitive.
And
I saw it when we played Spark the other day, dog. He don't play no games because
he'll lock in, dog. Like, he'll lock in, and he'll have, like, a phenomenal round.
Our matchup is tough because Tony's a baller. You know what I mean? Kyle is getting his game together, and he can hit some good shots. You know what I mean? He can bomb it off the tee.
Jason will lock in, bro. When we did the Ryder Cup 2 years ago, he was on my team.
I mean, he was semi-finalist for the putting competition last year, right?
He was on my team for that Ryder Cup, and I would have called him the MVP of my team that year.
Wow.
Even though our team didn't take it that year.
Wow.
I would call him the MVP of that team that year because bro, it's like
I like how he plays, dog.
It's like in the PGA. Like
Yes.
certain players might not have, majors, might not have a bunch of like trophies.
Yeah.
But Ryder Cup comes around
and they turn into a different monster.
You want those guys on your team. You know what I mean? Because it's a whole different type of golf, bro.
Absolutely.
So
that's why like I know what type of golfer I am, right? Quote unquote. But I also know what type of golfer Jason is and what type of person he is, right? So like I know what to expect from him when we're out there. So I feel really confident in how we're gonna be able to play together. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely looking forward to that matchup. I'm also looking forward to Saturday. I think I paired over 40, right?
You're scrambling with Forte. So the first day you got your own ball you gotta play, but you can probably navigate that. When we get into the Copperhead, which is
a tougher course,
treacherous to say the least,
dog. Those are the days I'm using my whack golf balls.
You got good idea. You got Forte. How do you feel about that as your scramble partner?
I feel like okay, so 40 is a dude that I've played with more than I've played with Jason, right? Because I get to see him more often, and he comes down and visit every now and then or whatever. Jason is a busy guy on the weekends, right? And I think that 40 is the type of dude, dog, who always brings a positive vibe, right? Even though he could be having a shit round, he's going to jump in that car after he hits a bad shot and be like, yo, you killed that shot you hit, dog. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't expect somebody to come in after hitting a bad shot or something and be like, oh, here's this abundance of positive energy into the cart. I like that, dog, because I tend to be one of those positive guys, extra positive guys. So having a guy like that, that's kind of like me, it's going to be giving me tips. It's going to be, again, hyping me up to do the best that I can for the team. I enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? And it brings a little bit less pressure. You know what I mean? Because I feel like as a combo, we're going to be able to put together some real good shots. You know what I'm saying? Good shots.
I think so too. I like you guys as a little team there.
We're a sneaky team out there, dog. But we're a sneaky team.
My money's on Steve and Frank that day, dog. Just so you know. They're going to dog you guys.
Let me tell you, Steve is one of those guys, dog, that I'm like, how the fuck does he do it, dog? Because he's a tall dude, dog.
He's like 6'4".
He's a tall dude, and golf is usually harder for the taller guys, right? You got to have
no shot.
Yeah, bro. I feel like it is.
Dustin Johnson, bro. Look at Dustin Johnson.
Bro, he's the exception. A lot of the guys on tour.
Max Homa's pretty tall.
A lot of the guys on tour, dog, probably average 6 feet.
Yeah,
6'1".
Sure.
And that's not that crazy tall. You know what I mean? That's an inch or two taller than we are right now.
Yeah.
Right? So, but when you're 6'4", dog, I feel like that guy can drive 350 yards whenever he wants to.
He has mass, bro. He'll drive most people with his 3-wood.
Yeah, dog. That's what I'm saying. So, I know that that's a fucking imposing figure. So we have to figure this shit out against Steve, dog.
And then you got
he's
Frank.
Good, dog.
So the Frank and Steve challenge for you is that Steve bombs it. Yeah. Frank's got the short game.
And Frank's gonna finish. Frank can finish.
You guys gotta be on your A game that day, dog.
Because I've seen Frank, dog. Again, I play with Frank. Shout out to Frank, dog. Like I've seen him play a lot, and I know that this motherfucker can sink putts. And with a guy, like you said, that can bomb drives and just get these guys close, even if they're on and they're looking at a par or bogey, that's probably a net par for these motherfuckers anyways. And they're going to be out there sinking pars left and right, dog. Like,
that's right, man.
We're going to have to play well, dog. And I think we can do it. I think we can do it.
Yeah. I think so, bro.
It's good matchups out there because,
we got some good matchups.
You know what? I have to give you and Frankie a lot of credit, dog, because we've talked about this trip for 3 months now, right? Off camera and sometimes on camera. And one of the things that I was really, happy with how the Ryder format came out was how good the teams were, right? Number one. And number two, how good the pairings came out, right? Because you want everything, especially for a guy like yourself, right, who's putting it together, you want everything to be competitive. You want everything to be fun. You don't want there to be that quote unquote extra pressure, right, of having to show up and shit. And everybody who's playing with each other vibes off each other, is cool with each other, has played with each other in some capacity and somewhat. So it's a really hard job to put that type of format together and do it so evenly and so competitively, while including all the fun. And I think you and Frank, dog, have done an amazing job at that, dog. So shout out to you and Frankie, dog.
Thank
for
you,
real.
dog. Thank you. Yeah, man. We did a good job, man. We had a format for how we drafted the teams, and
worked out perfectly.
We were very civil about how we did our matchups. We got a couple of newbies, first timers coming on the trip, and a couple of guys that just don't quite golf as often, that, you know, those are going to be my couple of teammates for the first 2 days. It's a couple of newbies that I'm taking under my wing, just to show them the ropes and make sure that they don't feel any kind of pressure, any kind of way. Just go out there and golf and have fun, bro.
Have fun, man.
That's what I want everybody to do this weekend, bro. Just go out there
know?
and have a good time, and may the best men win.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun, dog. So much fun, dog. And I just love, dog, that we're gonna have like all the little extra shit. We're not gonna spoil anything for the viewers or for the guys on the golf guys.
Golf Bros, I'm telling you.
But we're gonna have
Miami
a bunch
Golf
of
Bros
cool
this
shit that
weekend.
we do fucking all the time while we're out there, dog. And it's just gonna be an amazing weekend, and you definitely don't want to miss out, man. Don't miss out. So make sure you guys have your notifications on. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Miami Golf Bros. And you know what else to do. You got to tell a friend, baby.
Tell a friend.
To tell one more friend.
To tell everybody they know.
To tell everybody they know that they got to go right now to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications so you guys can keep supporting us and catching the dope videos when we drop them. Until next time.
Peace.